Hello and welcome to Unofficially Eurovision, the podcast where we talk all things Eurovision news, guests and games. My name is Josh, I'm a musician and Eurovision superfan from the UK, and on tonight's show we discuss the true meaning of Eurovision, give you all the latest updates on the contest so far, and talk to San Marino's champion. Don't forget to hit that follow button to stay up to date with the podcast, and without further ado, cue the music. Thank you very much for tuning into the podcast. We hope you enjoy your stay. And we begin our very first episode by asking the very first question you probably asked yourself when you first discovered Eurovision. What is it? Now, any normal person would probably respond by telling you all the incredible talent, skill, and dedication involved in creating the show. Or more realistically, they would describe to you the calamity of errors that it often is. How can we forget in 2018 when Portuguese Eminem decided to do a surprise feature on Suri's UK entry Storm, or 1 year later when Belarus's jury decided that they no longer wanted to vote and instead let a robot do it for them, which went well. And if whilst I was delivering those examples to you, you didn't have a clue what I was talking about, then don't worry, that's just what Eurovision is about. So, what is it then? Is it a miraculous display of incredible talent? Or is it a calamity of errors? Well, to answer this question properly, we have to understand why it began in the first place. We begin in 1939, when a not-so-nice man called Adolf decided he wanted to have a holiday in Poland. When his visit finished 6 years later in 1945, the rest of Europe decided that they urgently needed to band together to stop anyone else from having any unscheduled holidays. This prompted the formation of the United Nations, the European Union, but most importantly for us, the EBU. Now, if you are unaware of what the EBU is, quite simply, it is Eurovision. It stands for European Broadcasting Union, and whilst it does loads of important work and deals with loads of important people, to anyone who watches the contest on a yearly basis, that's all we care about. In typical fashion, it took them 6 years to create the first ever contest, held in Lugano, Switzerland, in 1956. The incredibly talented Liz Asia won the contest for the host country with the song Refrain, which, like most Eurovision songs, went to achieve complete and total worldwide domination. Back then, countries could enter with 2 songs, so Liz entered with a second song, this time in German, called Das Alte Karussell. This is, of course, the point where all my German listeners of the show have clicked off after my awful attempt at speaking their language. Whilst her German song didn't win the contest, it did come second, which sounds like an impressive result, a 1-2 as it were, until you realise we don't actually know the full results, and every other song in the contest was given second place. It's funny though, because over the next few decades, the EBU tried to piece together the results by asking the jury members how they voted. By the 1990s, they'd given up hope of clarifying the exact results, saying they couldn't trust the authenticity of the jury members' memories, which is surprising, because I remember exactly what I was doing over 30 years ago on a randomly specific date. Liz's victory would only be the beginning of what would slowly become the biggest music event in the world, which, love or hate Eurovision, is one hell of an impressive statistic. Eurovision regularly gets over 180 million viewers, or to put it in American terms, a lot more than the Super Bowl. Now, whilst we've looked at what Eurovision was in the beginning, we're no longer living in the 1950s. And as mentioned just a moment ago, it has since gotten a lot bigger and mostly better. Eurovision grew throughout the 60s and 70s when the UK, my country, was actually good at the contest, and some small underground artists like Lulu, Olivia Newton-John and Sir Cliff Richard represented the country. In fact, 1974 saw its most successful act ever. A then unknown Swedish group called ABBA took to the stage with an even less known song called Waterloo. In recent years, the likes of Duncan Lawrence have come close to replicating their success. However, last year's winners Måneskin have gone to become one of the biggest bands in the world, looking to take that crown away from ABBA. Can they do it? Only time will tell. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Eurovision grew even further, and the contest regularly had over 20 countries competing year on year. Ireland became that kid in school who you hated with a passion because they were good at everything, winning 4 times in the space of 5 years and hosting arguably one of the best interval acts ever seen at the contest, 1994's Riverdance. In 1999, Eurovision ditched the orchestra that had been ever present since the first contest in 1956 in favour of pre-recorded backing tracks, and in 2004, semi-finals were introduced thanks to some more people going on holiday in Eastern Europe, most notably in Yugoslavia and the Soviet Union. In 2007, Serbia competed as an independent nation for the first time and became the first debutant to win the contest since 1956, when everyone was a debutant, with the song Molitva by Maria Seferovic. 2015 came around and Australia participated in a special one-off 60th anniversary contest, so naturally they have been competing ever since. Now, ignoring all the political debacles of the past few years, as that would take an entire podcast episode in itself to talk about, that brings us up to the present date of 2022. Eurovision has become a staple part of millions of people's lives across the globe, and unless you are from the UK or Romania, you're probably living in a country where they take the contest seriously and want to do well. If you've never watched the contest before, be prepared to enjoy or endure 4 hours of mayhem where 26 countries battle it out on an interesting Saturday night in May, showcasing their best and worst they have to offer to the world, where only one will reign triumphant. The over-the-top performances, singers who are more likely to hit a child than hit a note in tune, and occasionally magical moments are the reason we love it so much. So, what is Eurovision? Is it a miraculous display of incredible talent? Or is it a calamity of errors? Well, I think it's both, in the best possible way. Now it's time to do the news. In most normal episodes, we would use this as an opportunity to talk about the news of the week in the Eurovision world. But as this week is a special doubleheader, in this first episode we'll look back at what's happened so far in the world of Eurovision 2022. However, we start in 2021. The month is May, the city is Rotterdam. Eurovision 2021 has just finished, and Måneskin have won with the song Ziti e Buoni. Bidding has just begun, and many cities are vying for the right to host the contest. Eventually it is won by Turin, and the contest goes there for 2022. Now, over the coming months, September, October, November, countries are preparing their national finals and their internal selections. In traditional ways, Albania would usually select their entrant first. However, this year is a stray from tradition, and Bulgaria, who to many have become a fan favourite country over the past few years, selected their entry first, an internal selection of Intelligent Music Project, which, after hearing their song, didn't seem like a very intelligent decision to a lot of people. I think it is the most conclusive decision that most Eurovision fans can agree on, that their song, Intention, is not the greatest we've ever seen at the contest. However, over the coming months, more countries would select their songs. Czech Republic was next, and they had an incredibly strong national final of 7 songs, in which We Are Domi, or also known as Domi, won with the song Lights Off, beating out stiff competition from the likes of Elis Mraz, a fan favourite in 2020 as well, and Jasinki Guidi, who was probably the most fan favourite of the lot. Albania would select their song third, in traditional fashion in December, with their selection Festivali Ikengus. It became a two-way duel, and fans of both of the songs competing sort of were split down the middle, half of them going for Ronella Hajati's, and half of them going for Albin Ramasage's song. Eventually, Ronella won with the song Secret, and will represent the country at Eurovision, with Albin coming in second. And that ends off 2021. Now, this national final season, we've seen the best and the worst from some countries, with quite often the worst winning out in a lot of people's minds. However, there are a lot of positives about this year. For example, despite everyone saying this is an incredibly weak year, there are a lot of famous faces at this contest. The likes of Achille Lauro, Mahmood, Blanco, and the Rasmus. Between them alone, they have 1.1 billion YouTube streams. That's just the 4 of them. We also are having a song fully in Lithuanian for the first time since their debut in 1994. Monica Liu will sing the song Sentimente, meaning sentiments, And hopefully her sentiments are right, because in 1994, Lithuania finished last with 0 points on their debut and didn't compete again for another few years. Slovenia is feeling Italy this year, sending the band Last Pizza Slice, who beat the fan favourite Luma with the song All In. LPS, Last Pizza Slice, will be singing the song Disco and hoping to bring back that 70s retro feel. Now, both Luma and LPS came through the EMA Fresh, which is a great sign for all those upcoming and emerging artists in Slovenia. As well as that, Slovenia has become quite a divisive entry, if not one of the most divisive entries this year. LPS's song Disco, for a lot of people, is one of the best. However, for a lot of people, is also one of the worst. Only time will tell whether this will succeed or fall in Turin. Italy also announced their hosts for the contest this year. Alessandro Catalan, who is an incredibly famous TV host over in the country, will be joined by Laura Pausini, who is one of the most famous Italian singers out there, winning 5 Grammys, 4 Latin Grammys and 1 Major Grammy, a Golden Globe, and an Oscar nomination in 2021 alone. The lineup will be completed by none other than the incredibly famous British-Lebanese singer Mika, most known to younger audiences for the song Grace Kelly. Finally, the stage design has been released. The stage will be called The Sun Within, complete with loads of moving parts and real water features, so all those pyromaniacs will be absolutely fine. Now, the lineup is nearly complete for Eurovision 22, and whatever people think of it, whether they think it's a great year, whether they think it's a bad year, or whether they think it's something in between, the one thing we do know is it's incredibly diverse this year and a lot different to 2021. A lot different. Now it's time to spill some tea with a VIP, and my guest today is a singer, songwriter, producer, and recently has become a fashion icon thanks to some of his recent performances. It is, of course, the fantastic Aaron Sibley. Aaron, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm doing great.
Lovely jubbly, great to hear. So let's start off actually by talking about your fashion icon moments. You recently have competed at San Marino's national selection, Una Voce per San Marino, in which you came third, incredibly, out of all 100-odd artists that competed, only 2 points behind the winner. And when you were competing, you wore this incredible costume that I believe, if I'm correct, was designed for you.
So, I wore this gorgeous garment. It was created by a brand called Who Am I? And it was this incredibly talented girl from Italy. She has a collection that she'd made. It wasn't designed specifically for me, but I went to meet her and I saw her garments and I said, I want that.
Yes.
So
yes, amazing,
I went ahead and took it.
Because what was it? It was sort of like a hand type with like loads of eyes on it. Like, was there any specific meaning to you with that, or was it just you really liked it?
No, pretty much. Basically, her brand is called Who Am I being the emoji of an eye. And so a lot of her garments kind of have that kind of inspired idea. So with this particular outfit, it had loads of hands and inside each finger was an eye. My song is about pressure, and I talk a little bit about like diamonds, because it was a little bit of a play on words, because it's like diamonds are created from pressure. Anyway, and when I first saw the garment, I kind of was thinking that the eyes looked a bit like diamonds as well. So I kind of like looked through the meaning a bit. And
definitely. But yes, it definitely stood out in a good way, and I definitely would say I'm alongside of the sort of people who enjoy the sort of bright and out there shirts.
Thank you. I definitely wanted to be quite loud and have something that would be more of a statement. It's funny, actually, because on my Instagram and my socials, there's quite a lot of people either saying that they love it, but there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, I'm not sure about the outfit, blah, blah, blah. But I think, do you know what? As long as you're talking about me, I like
Exactly. All publicity is good publicity, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah. But as well as competing this year as with a song, your own song, you also have been entering songs over the last few years into different national selections, notably in Moldova as well, where you've entered yourself in 2018 and also entered songs as a songwriter in 2020 and this year as well. So what was that sort of experience like, coming from a songwriting perspective?
Well, it's funny because in 2018, that was the first year. I've always been a big fan of Eurovision. Like, it's one of my passions. Although I feel like not a huge amount of people share this passion
Yeah.
living in the UK.
Yeah, especially in the UK. Yes, definitely.
So in 2018, I decided for the first time to start writing songs with a competition. I had a friend that reached out to me and suggested that we do something together. We actually didn't end up writing a song together, but it kind of gave me this spur to go ahead and write some songs. So in 2018, I wrote a song for Moldova. I found an artist, and actually they asked if I would duet with them, because each country has their own rules. So for this specific country, you can have 50% of the artists from Moldova, and then 50% can be from wherever. So that was me.
Yes, and that artist was Sandy C, the incredibly talented Sandy C as well, who you competed with. What was it like working with her?
Well, bear in mind, this was really kind of at the start. I mean, I've been doing music for a long time, like ever since I can remember, but I only really consider myself doing music professionally since moving to London, because it was really the start of my kind of journey. So, bear in mind that when I went to do this with Moldova, it was only, like 8 months after I moved to London. So it was very fresh, very new. And so it was very scary. It really was. So when I went to Moldova, I feel so lucky looking back, because everybody I was working with there, whether it was Sandy or her manager, Artur, who actually I stayed with, they were all so friendly and so welcoming. And the experience was not just a professional kind of success for me. It was also kind of like just a nice environment to be around. It made everything so much easier.
I was just saying, I suppose you want that as well, don't you? Especially for like a first sort of experience, you'd be a bit put off if like you went there and everyone was like awful towards you.
Well, yeah, that's true. And it's funny because I never really considered I never really considered myself going back to like the same country or whatever. I don't have any kind of like affiliation to Moldova in any other aspect other than I know a couple of the songs from Eurovision, and now obviously I worked there, but now it's been 3 years I've had songs in their national selection. So yeah, it's pretty cool, to be honest. I quite like the country and these singers and the artists.
So you in 2020 and 22 as a songwriter, was that just, I'm guessing that you didn't necessarily go over to Moldova for those, you just sort of sent your songs over?
Well, I would have liked to, but with 2020, Eurovision got cancelled in the end. And then 2022, which is now, I was unfortunately busy in San Marino.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, it kind of overlapped a bit. But no, anytime I write a song for another country, I really would love to be there, like participate, because it's very much still my music, even if it is another artist, And I actually had a few other songs that I was working with this year with different countries, but not all of them happened to come into fruition. But in terms of like work last year, it was a very successful year. I had a lot of new projects, and whilst I know that like, certain situations don't always come into fruition, I feel like very proud of the music I created, and I'm hoping that the artists will release the songs.
Yes, definitely. So we got loads of stuff to look forward to then in the future coming from Aaron Sibley songwriting.
I hope so, yeah. We've got, from artists that are not myself, there should be hopefully a couple. But actually, in terms of myself, there should be some new music coming soon anyway. So it's a very full-on time right now.
Lovely. If we just quickly talk back to what you were saying about you first moving to London in 2017, 2018, around that time to start your career professionally, you also, at the start of that in 2017, you won Pride's Got Talent, I think it was called, where you got to perform on Pride, on London Pride, which I actually saw the other day, which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So like, was that sort of like the turning point where you were like, yes, you want to take it professionally, or was that sort of another one of your first stages?
Well, I've been doing, like I said, music for a long time, and actually I've been doing music professionally for a long time, because even when I lived back in my hometown, I was singing at restaurants, at pubs and clubs and all this stuff. But yes, so when I first moved to London, in the first few months of living here, I was actually part of a competition called Pride's Got Talent, which is a music and cabaret competition focused towards the queer community. So obviously I entered, and I did quite well. I got straight through to the final, which earned me an opportunity to actually perform on the main stage of Pride in London, which bear in mind, is in front of thousands of people throughout the day.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. so it was quite a lot. And it was very validating to move to London to pursue music and then to actually get somewhere. But it was actually really difficult for me, because looking back, I think maybe I was still growing, still learning who I was as an artist. And also because I had a experience of that caliber, the year like after that, I was like, how do I get back there?
Yeah.
You know? So it was quite a struggle, but yeah, it was very validating at the time, and it definitely put me on my trajectory.
Yes, definitely. If we talk about one more thing to do with your Eurovision work as well, like you also, how I first came across you was when you started putting on videos onto YouTube of your Eurovision reactions for last year, for 2021,
Yes.
and all that. What was it like recording those sort of things? And are there any plans to do any more in the future? Because I know they got a decent amount of traction.
Well, yeah. So I started doing them in 2020, but it got cancelled, so I didn't really get to kind of feel my fantasy with that, my vlogger fantasy. But then after that, in 2021, I did a complete series. And to be honest with you, it was just a lot of fun because I love Eurovision a lot. And me and my boyfriend were recording the videos together. Like, he was kind of the producer. Like, most of the stuff I was saying, he was like, oh, you should say this. And, oh, have you thought about this opinion? And I was like, God, you know what? You should be on camera with me. So it was a lot of fun. And actually, it's funny you should bring that up, because I just recorded my first video of 2022 yesterday.
Oh, fancy. Oh, so we've got stuff to look forward to then coming out.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Very lovely. Right. I do believe that it is time we should play a mini game. Now,
I'm listening.
Today's mini game was randomly decided before the show started. And for the first ever show, our mini game is called The Piano Man Can. Now, the purpose of this game, quite simply, is I will play a 10-second clip of a piano cover of a Eurovision song. And your job, Aaron, is basically to guess what it is. And of course, you can play along at home yourself with it. Now, round 1 will be 10 seconds, and this will be worth 1 point. In round 2, I will play you 5 seconds, which will be worth 2 points. And in round 3, I will play you a massive 1 second, which will be worth 3 points.
Okay.
So before I begin, I will take a small disclaimer just so that no one has a go at me when they are ultimately not the greatest piano covers ever. I, the host, hereby take absolutely zero responsibility for the quality of piano playing during these audio clips, despite the fact I am the one who is playing them personally.
I love that. Yeah, don't take that from anyone.
There you go. Now I can't get into trouble at all for like being awful.
There you go.
That's my sort of like, there you go, big brain sort of thing.
Oh God, I'm really worried I'm going to be really bad. I'm bad with names, so I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, what I've done in testing is if that you don't get it at all, we can try and guess a country rather than a specific song. If that's a bit easier.
Thank you.
Right, so if I go for round 1, this is 10 seconds of the first song. There's your 10 seconds.
Wait, that's the Eurovision song?
Yeah.
I'm hearing I'm hearing a different song. I'm hearing Baby Love. Oh, wait. Oh, it's Waterloo.
Yes, it's Waterloo.
Oh my God, it's the same melody.
It is actually. I didn't even think of that until you said that. Yes, it is.
How strange. Okay, well that counts, right? I mean, it wasn't in 10 seconds, but I got it, right?
Oh, no, you can guess. No, you guess afterwards. No, that's fine. No, it's fine. You get your 10 seconds, then you can guess. Sorry, I should have explained that more clearly, shouldn't I?
No, it's okay.
There you go. I know. It's very, very stressful situation. Right, okay, so you've gotten a point for that. That was ABBA's winning Eurovision song in 1974, Waterloo. Oh. Now, I'm going to play round 2, and round 2, you're going to get 5 seconds, and this is going to be worth 2 points.
Okay.
There's your 5 seconds.
Am I allowed to hear it again or not?
You're allowed to hear it again. What I can also do if you get really stuck is play 10 seconds for a single point. But I'll play that again, that 5-second bit first.
Okay, yeah, go on, 5 seconds.
That's your 5 seconds.
Oh, I know. I forgot the name of it. By Lena from Germany.
Yes, we'll give it.
Satellite.
There you go. Yes, there's 2 points. Yes, that was Lena's winning song.
Like a satellite, I'm in orbit all the way. Yes, that was a tune. Okay. Whew.
Yes, that was 2010's winning song from Germany, Lena, with the song Satellite. Now, round 3. This is worth 3 points. You are going to be getting a total of 1 second.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
Oh.
I accidentally gave you about 2 seconds rather than 1 second because I double pressed play by mistake. But there you go.
Well,
there's 2 seconds. Go on.
That was hard. At first, I was like, "What?" But then the second little bit, so I was like,
"Yeah,
okay.
I think Mike.
That is definitely arcade."
It is. Yes. That is right. I will give you the 3 points for that. That was my mistake of pressing it twice by mistake.
Don't take my points away from me.
So after that mini game, you have gotten a total of 6 out of 6 points. So very, very well done. That is definitely going to put you first on the on the leaderboard.
That's good. Against no one else yet.
Against no one else.
As long as I'm winning.
It's still first.
And plus, that's hard to beat. That's a good score.
Exactly. That is a pretty good score. We've got to wait to the end, though, to see if we can add it together with our final little competition. But for now, we will move on to a little fan Q&A. Now, I asked people to fans of the show, fans of yourself, to send in their questions to ask you on this podcast. Now, if you are watching or listening to this podcast and you would like to get involved, please either send me a message at Unofficially Eurovision on social media or use the hashtag Unofficially Eurovision on any social media to send in your questions for our guests. Now, our guests will be announced before the episode comes out in most cases. Obviously, as this is the first week, it's slightly different, but in future, they will be all announced. Now, here is your questions from fans. Now, your first question is, what is your favourite Eurovision song ever?
Oh, wow. A very open-ended question.
Yeah, you're only allowed one, by the way.
Only allowed one, okay. I mean, there's been so many, and I think that, like, in the last 2 years alone, there's been some of the best songs within Eurovision, like, ever. Like, it's been such strong years. But, like, a song that I always really loved, which is actually why I started writing songs for Moldova, was a song called O Mia. Omia by Aliona Moon from Moldova in 2013.
Yes, I love that. Was the first year I watched Eurovision, actually, and I remember that. I remember that.
Oh, it was. That was a strong year.
Yeah,
very good year.
Yeah, I do remember that song. Yeah, because that was the one where she sort of rose up out of the sort of like in her dress or whatever it was.
It was amazing, and her voice was so good, and she's a fellow Ginge. Well, I mean, I don't know if that was a real hair color at the time, but
yes, definitely. All right, perfect. Okay, second question is, out of all of your songs, what was your favorite to write?
I don't know. I'm very serious when it comes to songwriting. Like, I try to focus and I try to make sure that I'm, staying true to like what sort of vibe and sound I want to do, and also make sure I'm writing about things that I wouldn't consider to be really cliche. I mean, I guess I'm trying to like sound profound, but like I fail miserably. But I think maybe my favorite song I wrote was a song that I released, actually my latest song I released before Pressure. I think it was a song I wrote called Smart Guy. This is it's a very like upbeat, kind of a lot of kind of R&B kind of influences. It's very not sort of the sound that I would typically go for, but it got to a point where I wanted to record something fun, and I was listening to a whole load of Ariana Grande, who I love.
Oh, of course, yes.
And she just really inspired the sound, so I kind of went with it, and in the end I created this track, which is very feel good, and also it's very much saying to yourself, like, it doesn't matter if you don't really know what's going on with your life, just you'll figure it out.
Go with the flow. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you can stream that on all major streaming and download platforms.
You can indeed. Smart guy, Aaron Sibley.
Got to get the little plug in there, of course. Right, question number 3. What is your morning routine like? So, like, what is your general morning routine?
Oh dear. Well, it depends on what day. I suppose, like, if I'm trying to have a productive day, I will get myself up out of bed with an alarm,
Nice.
and usually ignore it.
Of course. Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose I'll just get up, have a cup of coffee. Depending on what I fancy doing, if it's music production, I'll like lock myself in the studio, and I'll just sort of get cracking. Take a break after a few hours, but sometimes I would like to just lug myself out of the door and go to a coffee shop with my laptop as well. Like
Nice,
it's pretty good. Like I don't, I'm never too hard. I'm about to say I'm never too hard on myself. I'm always too hard on myself. But I definitely work very hard, but I enjoy it, so I don't mind too much.
And so I feel like that's the thing about doing music as well, is that there is a lot of freedom, but obviously it's all down to you as well. So you have to do a lot yourself and like keep yourself to schedules and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's difficult because, I'm an artist myself who's not signed by a label. I do everything on my own by choice. And so, like I have to do, if I've got a single release, I need to do the PR, the advertisement, the recording, the production, the putting everything on the distributions, like everything. So sometimes it really does take a lot of power to just like get yourself out of bed and think, oh God, I've got so much to do. But when it's done, it's great.
Yes, definitely. And especially when you've got like long list of things to do and you're like, you haven't started anything and you're like, I don't know what to start first. Should I actually try and make a track, or should I try and promote something or something like that? It's always definitely.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I just stay in bed and play Animal Crossing all day. So that's fun too.
Why not? Yeah. I will definitely always do that. Just sit on my laptop and think, well, I could be doing something now, but I'm quite enjoying.
But I've learned you really do need to take breaks though.
Oh,
it's very important.
Oh yeah, do you ever? Definitely. Right. I think we've got time for one more question, and we'll go with this one. If you weren't doing music, what other job would you love to do?
That is a weird question. My whole life I've had the luxury, and I say that because many people don't know what they want to do, but I've had the luxury of knowing what I want to do with my life, and it's just been a case of me navigating through to find out how I'm going to do it. So the question of what would I do if I wasn't going to do music, I don't know. I've always wanted to do music. I suppose I would like to do something still quite creative, maybe something around, I think I would like to work in one of those like plant stores, house plants.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'd be
cool. I have like a bazillion plants. In fact, I think, can you see there's one here?
Yes. I can just see it behind you, just the top of it peeking over the chair.
I have like a bazillion houseplants, and whilst I'm not the best, some of them may have died, I always find them very therapeutic and nice to be around. So maybe that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, I would say plants, but I don't think I have any looking around my room currently because, like you say, I think they'd all be dead by now, and I think they have been when I've had them in the past. So I've just sort of thought,
it's a talent keeping them alive.
It is. It really is. I don't get how people can do it. It's like you've got to water it regularly, like every single day. I don't have the memory capacity to do that. I don't think most of the time.
Maybe you should just get a succulent for now. You can't kill those ones.
Yeah, definitely. Right. That's perfect. Thank you very much to everyone who has sent in questions. Thank you, Nate. Remember, you can send us in questions at #Unofficially Eurovision on all social media, or send us a direct message, Unofficially Eurovision, on any social media. Now, we move on to our last and final section of the show. This is the incredibly easy to say 60-second Eurovision extravaganza.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it?
It is. Try saying that 5 times after a few drinks. It really is. No, I wanted to make something that was very easy to pronounce, and very easy to do. So I went for the hardest thing that was possible.
Definitely. Why not?
So, yeah, exactly. Well, basically, this is as simple as it sounds. You will have 60 seconds to answer as many questions as you can. Now, this score will be added to your already gained 6 points from your show, from the minigame earlier, and will give you a total score for the end of the show.
Okay, very tense. I'm in game mode.
Are you ready? We will get the timer set up. I will make sure that it is as quiet as it can be for you. And we will get going. So your 60 seconds, Aaron Sibley, starts now. What is the total amount of performers that are allowed on stage at Eurovision at any one time?
6.
Yes. Before their victory in 2021, how many times had Italy previously won Eurovision?
I have no idea. 5?
No, twice. What year was a semi-final introduced into the contest?
Oh my gosh, I don't know any of these. I don't know. Let's go with 2000.
Oh, close, 2004. Eurovision is presented in English and what other language?
French?
Yes, correct. In what year was the contest first broadcasted in colour?
1975.
1968. Which non-European country joined Eurovision in 2015?
Australia.
Australia, perfect.
Oh, okay, it was. Whew.
Perfect. And that was just in time as well with the timer.
Was hard.
That was a total of 3 points to add to your already gained 6, which gives you a total of 9 points, which...
That's pretty good.
I was going to say, we have absolutely no idea if that's good or not because you're the first guest, but we're going to presume that that's really, really good.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, like, I've definitely scored the highest ever.
Exactly. You can say that no one's ever beaten you on the shows
I know, I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just used to winning lately.
Exactly. I mean, Una Voce per San Marino. Now, unofficially Eurovision. Here we go.
That was hard. I will say some of those questions were, I don't know, you think you know Eurovision? Like, I'm kind of like a bit obsessed, but like,
yeah,
I have no idea.
And it's in the moment as well, especially when you got the timer as well in the background. I imagine it's like quite, it's
very distracting, but it's fun.
That's the point of it. That's the fun of it. Sweet. And please let us know how you guys got on at home in that little trivia if you were playing at home. Now, unfortunately, we do have to end the show here. I would love to say thank you very much to Aaron for coming on. Aaron, can you let the viewers know where they can find out more about you, they can follow you, everything like that?
Yes, absolutely. So my Instagram handle is It's Aaron Sibley. And all of my other social medias, Facebook, YouTube, etc., is just Aaron Sibley Music. And you can find me on Spotify by Googling my name.
Perfect. Amazing. All right. So thank you very much, Aaron, for joining us on the show. Thank you very much to everyone who has tuned in to listen to the podcast. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And thank you for being here for the first ever episode. Now, there will be more episodes out throughout the week and later on every Tuesday morning. Now, one last time, because I haven't said it enough, thank you very much. And goodbye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.